Hi everyone, it's Mo Jax. I'm back in the lab today looking at this thing. This is the Pioneer DDJ-SP1. It's an add-on, a supplementary controller for Serato DJ from Pioneer. Now, it's supplementary because if you just plug this in on its own, you are not going to get the full Serato DJ opening up and working. You're going to get the offline player. This thing needs an existing controller or mixer or interface to actually run the software properly. But if you're missing functions from your existing setup, then this will definitely add on to that very nicely. So we've got like browse controls, we've got the effects, we've got all the pads section and so on. So the natural fit for this does seem to be the DJM900 SRT mixer from Pioneer, and I've got a video about that that's gone up already. Have a look at that one. There's a link I'll put up on the screen now for you. And also it could be used with when the SL boxes get supported in Serato DJ in 2014. You could use it with the SL2, 3 or 4, and that's going to give you all those extra controls. It will also run with any other Serato DJ controller. So let's say for an example, you've got the old Vestax VCI 300, or you've got the Newmark NS7, the original one. Then what you could do is add this on there, and that's going to give you all the extra controls for effects and so on, which weren't present when those controllers were first made, and they haven't been adapted to Serato DJ, but they're still missing a few of the controls that you might need to get the best experience out of the software. So it's not cheap. It's £329 here in the UK, but it is Pioneer. It's Pro Kit, and it feels it too. It feels every bit as sturdy as my DDJ SX controller. I've been using it alongside the Twitch from Novation, the Vestax 380, and I've used it with the 900 SRT as well, and it really does add a lot to all of those experiences. So I'm going to take a look around it. We'll show you how it all works, how it integrates with Serato DJ, and then you can make your own mind up as to how well it's going to integrate into your workflow personally. So let's go. Let's look at the layout of the thing first of all. We've got two identical deck sections on either side. So you've got 1 and 2 over there. Now each one's got the effects at the top. You've got FX1 and FX2, all with their relevant controls. You've got the section in the center there, which is like your parameters, your auto loop, sync and so on. Then the pad section down at the bottom. Coming into the middle, you can assign the effects. Over there you've got deck 3 and 4. You can switch this to deck 3 and 4 if you're running a 4-deck setup. So if you've got the DJM900 SRT, you've got 4 decks on there. You can actually have this controlling all 4 decks at once. You can have your hotkeys, your loops and everything else for 4 decks. So you can just switch between them very easily. You've got your browser section in the middle there, and your shift button, which is very important on here. Now anytime you see a bit of text on the white background, black text on a white background, that's a shift function basically. So we'll be using that shift function a lot as we go through this controller, because there's a lot of layers, a lot going on. You've got a sampler volume, SP6 volume in the middle there, which is quite a big deal. A lot of controllers don't have that, and if you're going to get more into advanced stuff with the SP6, that might be something that would interest you. So definitely worth thinking about. That might just be one of the things that tips you over the edge into picking one of these up. But so let's go into the functions a little bit more closely. You'll notice we haven't got any playback controls on here at all. That's another thing that points you to it's got to be used with something else. So if you want to scrub through your track, if you want to pull it back to the beginning or search through it, if you want to actually play it, then you're going to need something else. So I've got my Twitch here. I'm just going to press play, and what I'm using, I've got Serato DJ 1.5.1 running on my MacBook, and I've got the new track from James Wilson off his new EP. It's called Motion from Warped Bridge Records. Thanks as always to them for letting me use their stuff in my videos. Much appreciated, and it's good gear. So let's go through what we've got then. We'll look at the actual control. So we're browsing through. We can browse with this big silver knob in the middle, and we can push down on that to go to our crates and scroll through those. We can also use the back button to go back to the previous thing that we were at. We've got load buttons left and right, so we can load. That's now instant doubled over there. Let's just turn that down. So we can load left and right quite simply, and when you change to deck 3 and 4, that will load to deck 3 or deck 4 as well, without any extra sort of work on your part. Obviously you've got a shift function on both of those buttons, so if we hold shift there, that's the view function, so that'll change the view mode from vertical to horizontal, extended and library, and so I'm going to go through those. And you've got the area there, so we can actually go through the different areas. And you notice in the prepare window, this is the prepare button, so we can add a track to the prepare window very simply, just like that. I'll just go and turn that back off again. There we are. We go up further, then the shift for the 3 and 4 buttons was actually the panel select, so you can select through between the record. So I've got recording running there. You can go to the FX section, to the SP6, as well, and put it back away again. And then we got to the top, you've got, yeah, your effects assigned. You can assign to deck 1 for effects 1 and 2, deck 2, effects 1 and 2, and you can also do that for decks 3 and 4 as well. So that all of this will work with all 4 decks if you've got a 4 deck setup. It won't unlock 4 decks if you don't have that set up, but it will work with it if that's something you have already. So let's move over to the actual central sort of section here. What we've got then is the auto loop. Now you scroll through your loops. If I just highlight that, so you can see what I'm doing. We've got our loop section over here, and we can scroll through the different loop lengths. So let's start with just a 4-beat loop on there. So there's a 4-beat loop running, and we can change that length whilst it's playing. And the shift function for that is push video, and we'll get to that. That'll be the last thing we look at in the video. Push that again, that'll turn the loop off. Your parameter button as well, so we can also, the parameter button is like a multi-function kind of button in here as well. It doesn't do anything on the auto loop because you've got that there, but it will change various other things as we go through. So that's a definite one to keep your eye on, is the parameter buttons. You've got slip mode, which is on there, and that will turn slip mode on. And it flashes to show you that it's on. You can also change in the firmware and have it flash all the time as well, which is quite useful if you, like me, and you forget that slip mode is turned on. So right now we're in slip mode, and it will jump to my cues but not lose its place in the track. And you can do loops and so on as well with that too. And then you've got a sensor button, which is that temporary reverse found in all the Serato software. Lets you get rid of any bad words, or can be used as quite a cool effect. The shift functions for those is relative and internal mode. So if you're using this with DVS, time code control, then you can just hold shift and go from relative and internal very simply like that. You've got the dreaded sync button. If you use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't, but you can hold it down to sync, and then you shift, turns it off, and then hold shift and turn it off again, and that will reset you back to your original pitch, much as all the other sort of Serato stuff does. So we'll get up to the effects section next. So I'm going to open that up using the panel select button. So shift, go through the panels up there, and go to the effects section. So now we can see we've got our effects over here, and I'm in a combo effect setting at the minute. So I've got 3 different effects there, all of which can be turned on like so. Perspective volumes change. And you can move through the beat length with this beat knob there. You can also tap them with that, and we also have a shift function on each of these as well. So if we hold down shift, we can push that there, and that will go through the different effects. And release it, and that will load the effect up. So that's now changed to the shredder effect, and also if you hold down shift, you can scroll through them quickly as well. So if you've got your favourite effects set up in the Serato DJ preferences, which you can do since I think version 1.5, let's see effects, we have our favourite effects list. So you can, if you've only got a limited number of effects, you might be quicker just to hit the button and push through like that. If you've got the big list in play like I have there, then you might want to use the actual shift and the knob to choose the one you want. And down on this one as well, we've got the shift function again. So again, white text on black on the buttons itself, and we've got, that'll change to a single effect. So now we've got a single effect with the various parameters we can turn on and off, and 3 controls. Again, still your beats. With full control over that. So you've really got with this full control over those effects in Serato DJ, and that's something that is definitely missing from the older like itch controllers that were designed for itch and then have been moved to Serato DJ. Even on the Novation Twitch, you know, the mapping is a little bit lacking because that controller was never really designed for Serato DJ at all. The effects section is totally different in Serato DJ, much improved to my mind. So, you know, it's nice to have that full control over the effects, and obviously you can have both effects sections applied to one deck or either deck or all 4 decks, whatever combination you want, using just this device, which is great. Okay, so now we get into the actual pad section of this thing, which for a lot of people will be the most appealing part. So we've got the standard sort of features. First of all, we've got the hot cues. So I've got my 8 hot cues just assigned onto those pads. Second section is very cool. Hold down shift, we get into the hot loop section. I've seen this now on the Newmark NS7 too, but this is new to any of the Pioneer stuff. I haven't seen this, it's not on the DDJ-SX, it's really cool. So what you can do with this now is your loop length, which you determine through your parameter on the screen. You can see if you click that there, you can just see that. So I'm going to go through the parameters there. Let's set this to, say, a 2-beat loop. And what I can do, if I hit that first hot cue, it's going to start a 2-beat loop from that hot cue automatically. And this is really cool. So if you've got a track with like lots of different elements, you could actually chop it into various loops and kind of really do a live remix with it. So we can see, to come out of it, you just press the pad again, but go back in it just by hitting the pad. So as you can see, we're doing a 2-beat loop. And we can just drop in. And that will just loop those 2-beat sections. I think this is really cool. So you can really live remix your stuff. Just with loops there on the fly. So some definite potential in that hot loop mode. I hope they bring that to the SX in the future. That would be so cool if they did, because that is a wicked function. Really, really like that. We'll move on then, just come out of that one, and we'll come on to the roll section. So we've got, this is your roll first of all. Good old loop rolls. Chop those up, then you shift on that one, it gives you the auto loop, and that's your standard auto loop. And then we get into the slicer, first seen on the Novation Twitch. I think it's sitting here looking a little bit jealous actually, poor thing. So we've got our different parameters we can lengthen out. This is where your shift and parameter 2 comes into play as well. So you can really chop up, you see it's moving really quickly now, so let's just widen it out a bit. And if you do that twice, it goes into the loop slicer mode. So it'll play the same section of the track over and over again. And then we get into the manual loop. Now, I'm just going to come out of the slicer mode there and go back to the start of the track. Now the manual loop mode, so shift, hold that one down, and we're into manual loops now. This is actually a unit that Pioneer UK have sent me to do the demo video with and to take a look at and review. Now on the final production units, it doesn't have the writing on the pads itself, it has it next to the pads, which is no great loss really. You know, it's probably a slightly cleaner looking layout, but it's good for the purpose of the video because you can actually see what's going on a little bit more clearly. So what we've got then, we've got an in and out, so we can set an in point and an out point. I think I'm still running an auto loop, hang on, bear with me. Let's turn that off. There we go, right. So we're in auto loop mode, that's better. In and out. And then what I can do, you can see loop is active there. Now what I can do, if I change over on this screen to the loops section, then we can actually choose which slot we're going to save that to, so we can just go up and down the slots, and I'm just going to save to the top. Oh, I've lost my loop. There we go. I'm going to save it in there, and then we can go up and down those, and we can re-loop, so we can jump to it and exit, or alternatively what we can do is go into, so if I just go into another slot, you see that saved that in that slot automatically, no mucking around. And then we can actually turn it off and make it just active again. So if I go back to the beginning of the track now on the hot cues, that loop is still active, and when it gets to that point, it will then loop. Whereas the re-loop will just jump to it straight away. So you've got both options there available to you without any problem at all. All the slots available to you, you can go through all 8 slots on there. Unfortunately, on the new version of Serato DJ, you have to scroll through. I hope they fix that in the new version. But so there you go. So you've got all your loops are there ready to go, basically. And then finally, we've got the SP6 sampler section. So I'll just go and look at the panel select. We'll go to the SP6 section there, and we can see I've got all my dodgy air horns and stuff. Yeah, once again, I apologise. And you can just basically play them all from there. And they've also got a velocity mode, so hold down shift and then you've actually got a velocity on the pad. So if you're doing like drumming and so on, that kind of thing, then you can actually drum a lot more realistically with your pads as well. So definitely a lot of power there if that's your bag. So that's the kind of audio layout then. Let's take a look at the actual video side of it, which is pretty unique to Serato DJ controllers. I don't think I've seen this on anything else yet at all. So let's just put the panels away. So what we'll do, you'll see under the auto loop there, we've got the legend that says push a video. So we're going to hold down shift, we're going to push the encoder in, and there, hey presto, we have Serato video loaded up. So I'm just going to get the actual preview window out of the way. Don't need to see that. And this is just a little loop thing that I knocked up a long time ago in After Effects, but there you go. So how do we actually control that then with this? Well, what we've got now, we've got the effects selection up here, so we can scroll. You can see on the screen there, we've got the knob is controlling the actual video effect depth. And how do we select that? Same way as we do with the audio effects. So we hold down and we can either go through the list that way, and then we can turn it on with that button. You can now see we've got a kaleidoscope thing going on there. Or we can also hold shift and scroll through them all that way as well. So we go negative, let's do that, that's on. And we can do that with the second effect, which is the next one here. So we can add on another effect. Let's just do, again, there we go, turn that on. It's going to do nothing on that particular video, let's try something else. There we go. Control the effect on there. So you've got full control over your video effects, which is pretty cool. Now, as we move on then, so we've got two video effects, we've got then two other controls there, so we can, let's see, hold down shift and we'll go into the next one. Now we need to open up, because these third ones do some slightly different things. So what we've got there, we've got the opacity of your image effect. So if you've got an image overlay, you can overlay the image on top of it, and you can actually change how it animates as well. There's no way to load the actual images from here or anything like that, but you can definitely work with an existing image. If you've got like a logo or something as an image, you can make that animate in the way that you want to, very simply. And then we've got the control there, and this will go through, that fourth button will go through the different transitions. So your next, basically you can go through the whole list that you've got in the transitions set up exactly as you want, and you can choose them from the list without holding shift. You just turn the knob itself and choose the one you want, and away you go. So, you know, a level of video control which has not been seen in Serato stuff before, and it's really cool. It definitely works really well. And then if you push video again, then let's just hold shift and push that again, it'll go away. Basically that will, so let's just open it up, push video, just going to double click to open it there. And so the panel goes away, but the video is still playing. So that's pretty sweet. So you can actually access those video controls as you wish and make them go away again really quickly without any problem at all. So there we have it, the DDJ-SP1 from Pioneer. It's definitely a very powerful controller. It does a lot of things. It basically covers everything in Serato DJ apart from the transport controls. So as an add-on for whatever system you're going to use, it's really great. I'm definitely going to be picking one of these up, mainly because after using the Numark NS7 II, I got really into the whole spinning platters, really enjoyed it. So I've picked up a Numark V7, which will be supported in Serato DJ soon. Only the one. So what my plan is to use a V7, and then this thing will let me control all of the cue points and the loops and the effects and everything else that I want for both decks from that 1v7. So there's going to be some niche setups that people are going to use this for, but you know, ultimately, yeah. Also, then it will be useful for me running with Serato DJ DVS. Plug my SL3 in, plug my turntables into a regular mixer, and use this to control all the loops and cues. It's fantastic. I mean, at the moment, I've got a Native Instruments Control X1 Mark II that I use for that kind of function alongside all my bits, and I've got dicers and everything else as well. But this will replace all of that, and it's all native. There's no mapping to do. It just works out of the box with Serato DJ straight away, which is the real power of the Serato DJ platform. You know, there have been controllers like this in the past for Scratch Live. There was the Denon HC1000S, which worked really well with Scratch Live, and that was totally mappable. You know, had extra MIDI pages and so on, but this thing's got the lot. It's got everything you could possibly need. So there's, unless they introduce some crazy new features in the future to Serato DJ, you're going to be covered with this for a long time. The other benefit to this is as well, it will work as a Traktor controller for Traktor Scratch and Traktor Pro. Pioneer have got Traktor mapping on their website. I've tried it out with Traktor. That's really cool as well. They've really thought about it. It's got loads of instant effects and so on the pads, bit like the DJ Tech Tools stuff. You know, it's really cool mapping. You know, it's slightly problematic because Traktor's functions are a little bit different. So some of the things don't work quite the way that they're actually written on the controller itself, but it does work superbly. And again, just straight out of the box with that, you just load the TSI file into Traktor. It works amazingly. And as I say, the build's really solid. You're going to be able to throw this around, keep it, take it with you to gigs, and it's going to work really nicely for you. So all in all, yeah, very impressed. The DDJ-SP1, if there is space for it in your life or in your booth, I think you'll be very happy with it indeed. For more videos, do check out my DJM 900 SRT video for the sort of companion piece to this one. But thank you very much, and check out my channel for other walkthroughs, demos and so on, and tips, that kind of thing. It's Mojax VDJ on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.